Have you ever wondered what would happen if even essentials like meat or eggs became luxuries? Picture walking into a Walmart or Target one morning, only to find barren shelves, no food, no household goods, nothing. It's a chilling scenario, but one that's inching closer in today's inflationary crisis. The fallout goes far beyond disrupted shopping trips. Workers, low-income families, and communities reliant on supply chains will face a genuine crisis. In this video, we'll dive into the top 10 states at the highest risk when empty shelves become a grim reality in your daily life. Welcome back, I'm Grant Mercer. Number 1, Arkansas. If there's one place you think would be immune to a shortage crisis, it's Arkansas, the birthplace of retail titan Walmart. Yet, in a bitter irony, Arkansas is among the states hit hardest as the distribution networks of major corporations begin to fray. Small towns, especially in rural Arkansas, are now routinely facing empty shelves, delayed shipments, or worse, no deliveries at all. Walmart's presence is undeniable here, but the issue lies in distribution priorities. It's no longer about geographic proximity, but economic efficiency. As transportation costs soar due to spiking fuel prices and tariffs, larger consumer hubs like Dallas, Atlanta, or Nashville get first dibs. Small Arkansas towns, even those just hours from Walmart's headquarters, simply don't generate the profit margins to secure priority distribution. Then there's another harsh reality. Many international suppliers, from Asia to South America, are scaling back contracts with U.S. distributors due to escalating tariff costs. This forces retailers like Walmart to limit imported goods, and not every location gets its share. The result? In Arkansas, the proud cradle of an empire, residents are scrounging for basic necessities like meat or milk. Some are driving dozens of miles across state lines just to put food on the table. Number 2, Idaho. It sounds almost absurd. Idaho, famed for its sprawling potato fields, now ranks among the states most at risk of food shortages in America. How could this be? The answer lies in geography and demographics. Idaho isn't a major consumer hub, nor is it near the bustling seaports where imported goods flood into the U.S. Most consumer products here endure multiple transfer points, often from California or the East, driving up transportation costs in an era of surging fuel prices, tariffs, and inflation. Supermarkets in Boise or Twin Falls remain open, their lights still glowing, but locals are noticing a troubling trend. Essential items are growing scarce, particularly imported goods like electronics, household appliances, canned foods, or fruits not grown locally. This isn't confined to big box stores. Small local grocers are also showing signs of strain. Shelves may still be stocked, but the familiar items on shopping lists are increasingly hard to find. A mother I interviewed in Nampa shared her frustration. Last week I visited 3 major stores to find yogurt for my kids. Not the discounted kind, just the regular one. None had it. The world's changing, and we're feeling it here every day. This is Idaho's reality. An agricultural heartland, quietly slipping off the national distribution map as logistics firms and retailers prioritize higher profit regions. They don't announce it, but Idahoans are sensing it through the silently emptying shelves in their supermarkets. And it's not just food or household goods. Electronics, cars, and tech devices are also in short supply as supply chains falter. While Idaho's farmers churn out millions of tons of potatoes annually, the everyday consumer goods residents rely on are becoming increasingly out of reach. The state's robust agricultural distribution system, though efficient, can't offset the broader crisis when demand from other regions takes precedence. Number 3, Wyoming. One key reason Wyoming ranks among the states most vulnerable to goods shortages is its heavy reliance on external supply chains. With a sparse population and infrastructure that isn't exactly built for heavy-duty transport, Wyoming depends on long, complex delivery routes, making it particularly susceptible to supply disruptions. Major distributors and retail chains like Walmart and Target often face delays in getting goods to remote areas like Wyoming, especially as fuel prices and tariffs soar. Moreover, Wyoming lacks the large distribution hubs found in bigger cities. This means that when supply chains falter, smaller regions like Wyoming are often sidelined in the distribution strategies of major retailers. Essentials like food, medicine, and household goods are becoming increasingly scarce. compounding the issue, with a relatively modest cost of living, residents here have few alternatives beyond big box stores, making shortages even more acute. Unlike coastal states with bustling ports or international trade gateways, Wyoming's inland position amplifies its struggles with domestic supply chain gaps. While supermarkets remain open, locals are noticing the absence of many staples they once took for granted. Empty shelves are becoming a stark reality in daily life across the state. Another factor heightening Wyoming's vulnerability is its deep ties to the energy and mining industries. Disruptions in these sectors' production and supply chains could ripple beyond consumer goods, threatening job stability for residents. When a state like Wyoming faces such challenges, it's not just workers, but also low-income families who bear the brunt, struggling to access basic goods at affordable prices. Though not a major commercial hub, South Dakota is acutely sensitive to supply chain disruptions driven by factors like tariffs and labor shortages. The trouble starts with the basics. Supermarkets in Sioux Falls, the state's largest city, are grappling with shortages of essentials like meat, fruit, and processed foods. While South Dakota's agriculture sector is substantial, it meets only a fraction of residents' consumption needs. Most consumer goods are imported from other states, and with transportation costs spiking, shortages are becoming severe. A primary culprit is delayed transportation. South Dakota lies off the nation's main trade routes, complicating the delivery of goods from ports or major distribution centers. As fuel prices climb and tariffs take hold, retailers face even greater hurdles in supplying smaller remote regions. This is especially evident in small and mid-sized stores. Local supermarkets serving rural towns are struggling to keep shelves stocked. It's not just imported goods. Local agricultural products are also inconsistent as suppliers face production challenges. Beef, pork, and poultry are in short supply, driven by supply chain shifts and labor shortages. South Dakota faces a harsh reality. Despite its agricultural roots, its reliance on imported goods makes it highly vulnerable to external pressures like tariffs and fuel costs. This doesn't just hit consumers, it directly impacts agricultural workers and small businesses across the state. As goods fail to arrive, small stores and communities are feeling the pinch of these shortages firsthand. Number 5, Iowa. Dubbed America's corn capital, Iowa is grappling with a bitter paradox. A state that feeds the nation is now staring down the barrel of consumer goods shortages, including processed foods. This isn't due to a lack of agricultural output, but a distribution system cracking under pressure. Most imported goods, ranging from consumer products, packaged foods, electronics, to personal care items, are not produced in-state. Iowa has no seaports and isn't a national distribution hub. As tariffs tighten, the cost of shipping goods from major ports like Los Angeles, Seattle, or New York has skyrocketed. Retail giants are increasingly funneling goods to densely populated urban centers like Chicago or Minneapolis, relegating Iowa to the back of the line. This explains why chains like Target and Walmart in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, or Davenport are seeing dwindling shipments. Items like canned foods, snacks, plant-based milk, or non-local fruits such as bananas, avocados, and kiwis are frequently out of stock. Even major pharmacy chains in Iowa City are reporting shortages of imported medical supplies, particularly those sourced from Asia. The pressure isn't just external. Soaring fuel prices are making it harder for local distributors to deliver goods to rural areas where most of Iowa's population resides. This widens the urban-rural divide, with small-town residents often driving dozens of miles for basic necessities. Iowa continues to produce pork, corn, and soybeans for the nation. But that doesn't guarantee well-stocked local shelves. The shortages unfolding are quiet, but unmistakable and deeply alarming. In an economy changing at breakneck speed, Iowa is becoming a stark example of the risk of being left behind. Number 6, Maine. Picture a crisp fall afternoon on Maine's rugged coast. Waves lap gently against rocky shores. Quaint towns nestle beside vibrant maple forests. And local grocery stores still hang their open signs with quiet optimism. But behind those doors, shelves are thinning, and not everyone realizes how serious this growing problem is. Maine isn't a bustling industrial state. Life here moves at a slower pace, with communities relying heavily on small retailers and goods shipped from major southern cities like Boston or New York. This dependence makes Maine uniquely vulnerable as supply chains buckle under soaring transportation costs, escalating tariffs, and crushing inflation, weighing on every truckload of goods. Retailers in Portland and Bangor have been forced to cut back on imported orders, particularly for non-essential but popular items like Latin American roasted coffee, Chinese-made household goods, and premium organic products from California. These staples, once a go-to for Maine's middle class, are suddenly becoming luxuries. The real concern lies in Maine's lack of large supermarkets or in-state distribution hubs. Small stores in Augusta or Lewiston can only stock limited inventory. When major suppliers tighten shipments, these communities lose priority. A single delayed delivery can leave residents without access to basics like toilet paper or cooking oil, items once taken for granted for a week. Maine lacks the clamor of industrial states, but its quiet nature makes its shortages easier to overlook. As distribution priorities tilt toward crowded urban centers, Maine is being pushed to the fringes of America's supply map, where scarcity creeps in, not with a bang, but with a slow, persistent whisper. Mississippi has long faced challenges. As one of America's poorest states, with low per capita income, high poverty rates, and underdeveloped retail infrastructure, it's no stranger to hardship. But as import costs surge and supply chains increasingly prioritize high-profit regions, Mississippi isn't just poor, it's now the South's epicenter of severe goods shortages. Unlike thriving urban hubs like Dallas or Atlanta, Mississippi lacks a robust in-state logistics network. Consumer goods largely arrive from distribution centers in Louisiana or Tennessee. As businesses scale back transportation, they prioritize high-consumption cities with fatter profit margins. Mississippi, with its lower purchasing power, is left in the dust. This reality is stark in small communities like Hattiesburg, Meridian, or even the state capital, Jackson. National chains like Kroger and Walmart remain operational, but imported staples, think instant noodles, laundry detergent, toilet paper, or non-local produce are noticeably scarce. Frozen foods from abroad, like basa fish, factory-farmed chicken, or canned goods from Southeast Asia, are vanishing week by week. Mississippians are accustomed to frugal living, but the real concern is their lack of alternatives. When an item disappears from shelves, it might not return for weeks. Online shopping isn't a viable fallback. Many rural areas lack fast delivery services, and high shipping fees are unaffordable for most. Mississippi isn't just grappling with shortages, it's facing a deeper inability to adapt. The shifting national consumption landscape lays bare a harsh truth. If you live in a place deemed unworthy of investment by corporations, you're left behind, no matter how hard you try. Number 8. West Virginia. In West Virginia, the issue isn't just empty shelves. In fact, many retail warehouses still hold stock. The real problem is that goods aren't reaching the people who need them, when and where they need them. With rugged mountainous terrain, a scattered population, and subpar transportation infrastructure, West Virginia is a textbook case of shortages driven not by supply, but by distribution failures. As retailers tighten operating budgets, they often cut delivery routes to hard-to-serve areas, like the mountain communities here. What follows? Residents must drive dozens of miles to larger towns for basic necessities. And even then, there's no guarantee they'll find what they need, as goods are diverted to more lucrative markets. Another weakness is the lack of mid-sized retail chains. West Virginia has few Targets, Costco's, or Trader Joe's. Locals rely heavily on Walmart and small regional grocers, which struggle to pivot during supply chain disruptions. Online ordering is also out of reach for many. With spotty internet in rural areas and limited coverage from fast delivery services, the shortages here don't feel loud or urgent. They creep in quietly, bit by bit. One week, eggs are gone. The next, whole grain bread vanishes. Soon, essentials like tampons, detergent, or cooking oil become scarce. West Virginia isn't making headlines or sparking protests, but in its silence lies a chilling warning. While other states debate solutions, residents here are quietly adapting to scarcity as a normal part of life. And that's the most dangerous shift of all. Alaska, the land of ice, where summer suns barely set, and winter cloaks the state in months of darkness. Yet, in today's economic turmoil, it's not the harsh climate that's stirring anxiety among residents. It's the increasingly bare shelves in local stores. Alaska isn't a hub for large-scale consumer goods production. Nearly everything from food and medical supplies to household essentials is imported from other states or abroad. The catch? These goods arrive by sea or air, a logistical bottleneck that's tightening in the post-pandemic era and amid the current supply chain crisis. Transportation costs from Seattle to Anchorage, already steep, have ballooned as fuel prices spike and tariffs on Asian imports drive up input costs exponentially. The result? A carton of milk, a bag of rice, or even a few rolls of toilet paper can cost 1.5 to 2 times more than the mainland average, if you can find them at all. Small businesses in Fairbanks or Juneau are scaling back, unable to maintain steady inventory. Even major chains like Safeway and Walmart are limiting shipments to Alaska's stores. They don't advertise it, but retail analysts know. With high service costs and low population density, Alaska is slipping into the low-priority category. The shortages aren't just about price. They breed a sense of abandonment. Residents in small towns like Sitka or Nome report waiting weeks for essential mail-order deliveries. If those orders aren't canceled mid-shipment due to stockouts, here lies the paradox of a resource-rich state that's poor in self-sufficiency. Alaska is a glaring case study in how global supply chain disruptions hit the most remote places first and hardest. 10. Hawaii. In Hawaii, goods shortages aren't a forecast. They're already part of daily life. Isolated in the Pacific, this archipelago relies almost entirely on goods shipped from the U.S. mainland or Asia. Every container, every ship that docks in Honolulu is the product of a complex, costly, and lengthy supply chain. When that chain falters due to tariffs, container shortages, labor deficits, or rising fuel costs, Hawaii feels the impact most acutely. Its geographic isolation makes Hawaii uniquely vulnerable. While mainland states can pivot to domestic suppliers, Hawaii has no such option. It waits. A delayed food container means slimmer pickings at Oahu's supermarkets. A canceled ship can leave Maui residents without milk for days. Smaller islands like Kauai or Molokai face even greater challenges, relying on secondary transport routes that are frequently disrupted as operating costs soar. Many stores here are forced to hike prices or cut product variety, especially for imported goods like instant noodles, canned foods, or mainland produce. Even in bustling Honolulu, consumers are noticing a shift. Shelves at major supermarket chains are less abundant. Familiar products vanish or appear only sporadically. This disrupts daily life and pushes middle and low-income residents into a corner. While tourism remains the backbone of Hawaii's economy, some experts warn that supply chain imbalances could erode the ability to serve visitors, from restaurant menus to hotel supplies. In other words, Hawaii isn't just a tropical paradise. It's a hotspot for goods shortages in a volatile global era, a paradise struggling to feed itself. Goods shortages are emerging as a genuine concern across many U.S. states. Transportation challenges, supply chain disruptions, and rising costs are severely impacting residents' lives. This isn't just a short-term issue. It could persist without timely interventions. While each state faces unique factors, the common thread is the scarcity of essential goods. This serves as a wake-up call about our reliance on global supply chains and the urgent need for changes to mitigate these impacts. The information and insights in this video are for reference only and do not represent predictions or forecasts about future economic conditions. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so we, fellow Americans grappling with these issues daily, can keep the conversation going. For now, goodbye and see you next time. And